Hello, so I'm going to go over week 4's the hybrid portion, which was this right here. So first we got to go back to MindTap. (10.2) and (10.3). Let's see. So 10.2, we're going to start talking about the monthly calendar. So Ewan Lewis meet to discuss his idea of monthly events calendar. He wants a calendar to appear in the form of a web table with links to specific events. So the program you create should be easily adaptable so that can be used to create other monthly calendars. So he wants the code that generates the calendar placed in the LHT calendar.js file. The events list in the calendar will be placed in the LHT events JS file. Finally, the styles for the calendar will be placed in the calendar CSS file. Lewis already has created the styles required for the calendar table, but he has left the JavaScript coding to you. You would start by adding links to the calendar.js file and the calendar.css files to a web page describing the August events at the Lyman Hall Theater. Okay, so let's see. We got our files. I don't know if I have them on this computer. Pause it and see if I do. Okay, now I have them on this computer. So I'm going to VS Code, File, Open Folder, JavaScript 1, HTML10, Tutorial, and then select folder. Get rid of that tab. So, okay, here's our LHT calendar stuff. I'm gonna move that over to the left so I can see my text editor on the right. Okay, so we're going to open up LHT August. So it's this one right here. And we're going to the calendar one. Okay. Enter your name and date. That way. Enter your name and date in the comment section of each file. Okay. Tasha Penwell, 9/7/19. Tasha Penwell, 9/7/19. And then we're going to rename it. So Control C to copy that. File. Save as. Okay, make sure you're in the JavaScript 1, HTML10 tutorial. And just, I paste the name they tell us to name it as, save. And then the same thing for the JavaScript one. Copy the file name, Control C for copy, file, save as. Make sure you're in JavaScript 1, HTML10 tutorial. Control V to copy or to paste it and save. So we have our, make sure you're looking at these files names and that they're named this one right here for the ones that you're going to be worked at. So basically they don't have that dot text in there anymore. Return to this file right here. Go ahead and close this. And then add the following code above the closing head tag. Link href equals LHT calendar. And you can see that it's given me, as I type, it's given me my options that are close to what I'm trying to type up here. So this first one is what I want, and I just hit tab and it finishes it out for me. And then relationship, I can just hit tab and it puts the quotes in there for me, style sheet. And then the closing caret. Remember, I don't do this little bracket. If you want to do the little bracket, that /, that's fine. You do have to do this closing caret, but I don't do the /. Excuse me. And then we're also going to do that script source equal, nope, source, can't type, source equals LHT calendar. I can use the down arrow to select what file I want, which is this one. Hit end to get me to the end of that line and finish typing my defer, and it closes out my script for me, my script line here. So what we did, we linked 2 files to this HTML sheet. Again, we're in the lht_august.html, the new file that we created or resaved as, renamed. And we added the styling of the calendar and the styling of the JS. So scroll down the file and directly below the closing article tag, insert the following div element. So looking directly below the closing article, below the closing article, div ID equals calendar. Can't spell calendar, and I can't spell ID. Calendar. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And we didn't preview it, so let's find the file and see what it looks like. Oh, I forgot I'm in this computer and opens up in Edge. Okay. Open with Google Chrome. Now this is what it looks like after we made the changes that we just made in here. But let's go, and for me it's lines 22 and 23. These are the links that I just copied in there or just typed in there for the instructions. Let's select that and comment it out so the browser doesn't read it, and hit save and refresh, and nothing really changed. Okay. May have something to do with this styling right here. I don't know. So make that live again. Okay. Maybe evidently this has something. Oh, this has something to do with the calendar and the calendar. We don't see a calendar yet. Never mind. My bad. Let's see what would happen if we commented all this stuff out. Okay, it took out all the styling. So you see there was, let's put this back in. Okay. So these 2 style sheets were already in the file when we opened it up, and that gives it the styling that we see right here. These 2 files that we typed in, we don't see anything because there's nothing for it to, I guess, to go to yet, because we just added the div of a calendar right here. So it's still early in the game to see what kind of effects these style sheets are giving us. Okay, so let's move on. So reviewing the calendar structure. The calendar you create will be constructed as a web table. So before you start writing the code to create the table, you should understand table structure. So he wants the names and IDs assigned to different parts of the table. So we have a calendar table, we have a calendar head, we have calendar weekdays. The cells containing the dates of the month all belong to the calendar dates. The cell containing the current day is a calendar today. These classes and ID designations make it easier for page developers to assign different styles to the different parts of the calendar. If developers want to change the table's appearance, they will not have to edit the JavaScript code to do so. Instead, they only have to modify the style sheet. Adding the calendar function. So you will place the commands that generate the calendar within a single function named create calendar. The initial code to generate the calendar follows. So the this day variable stores the current date. So we have a variable named this day. And what that does is store the current date of this, what's in this string right here. The next line of the function stores the HTML code, which is a document, get element by ID of calendar, which is the ID that we designated for me on line 71. And we're going to say the inner HTML is going to create a calendar. The inner HTML equals create calendar of this day. Let's see, well. Okay, now we're just talking about the code from the create calendar function. So this function of create calendar is what we're naming the function. Is a calculated date, and the variable of calendar HTML equals the table ID equals the calendar table, which you saw is what we're going to name this. Calendar HTML plus equals the table, the closing table. Okay, we'll work on it. It is definitely, JavaScript is definitely hard to have an understanding of it just by reading it. It's something that you just have to do, just like anything else. Okay, we're going to the JavaScript file. Insert the following code at the bottom of the file to set the calendar date. So, bottom of the file, set the calendar date. Set the date displayed in the calendar. Var this day equals new date August 24th, 2018. Next, add the following code. Let's see. Write the calendar to the element with the ID calendar. Document get element by ID calendar, enter HTML, create calendar this day. Okay. So finally, enter the initial code for the create calendar function that generates the HTML code. Function to generate the calendar table. Function create calendar date var calendar HTML. Okay. Okay, what do we write here? We got a variable named this day. It's going to give us the new date of August 24th, 2018. Okay, so we're going to write the calendar to the element with the ID calendar. So I'm going to make this bigger, move this over to the side so you can see. So here's our JavaScript code and here's our HTML code. So we're going to write the calendar to the element with the ID calendar. So here's our ID calendar. So whatever we're going to be writing is going to be writing in this particular area right here. Document get element by ID calendar. The inner HTML is going to call the function create calendar this day. So we're going to have a function of create calendar. It's going to calculate the date. Okay. Then we're going to have a variable of calendar HTML equals a table ID of calendar table, which let me make this to the side again. Is remember what they're wanting to name the web table of calendar table. And then we're closing the table tag and it's going to return calendar HTML. Now tables are taught more with HTML than JavaScript. I don't think this chapter is going to get into tables. So just be aware of that. If you don't feel like you have a good understanding of tables, it's something that's more taught with HTML and CSS as opposed to JavaScript. So just keep that in mind. Return create. We're going to return the calendar HTML. So we're going to return this that we created. So cal date is not something that we've gone over. Oh, let's see. Let's go to W3 schools. Maybe. Mover. There we go. That's not what I want to do. Let's see. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I'm thinking calc date. I'm thinking Microsoft. Sorry, I'm thinking Excel. My bad. Sorry. Okay. I got that mixed up. Moving on. So what I was thinking was actually something that you do in Excel. Sorry. Okay. Next, you will start to write the code to create the contents of the calendar table. The three main tasks to complete the calendar table are as follows. So you can create a caption displaying the month and the year, create a table row containing the names of the week, names of the days of the week, create rows for each week in the month with cells for each day of the week. So If we save this, does it do anything yet? No, not yet. So we're going to start talking about arrays. Lewis wants a calendar table, a caption to display the next month, year, where month is the name of the month and year is a 4-digit value. In the last tutorial, you learned that you can get the getMonth method of the JavaScript date object to extract a month number, and the getFullYear method to extract the 4-digit year value. For example, a date object storing the date March 18, 2018 has a month value of 2 because March has a value of 2 because everything begins with a 0. Regarding computers, 0 is January. 4-digit year, value of 2018. However, Lewis wants the month name rather than the month number to appear in the table. But because no date method returns the name of the month, you will have to write code to associate each month number with a month name. So one way of doing this is by using an array. An array is a collection of values organized under a single name. So each individual value is associated with a number known as an index. This distinguishes it from other values in the array. Array values are referenced using the expression array and whatever the value, whatever we use, an integer. So array is the name of the array, and I is the index, of a specific value in the array. Index values start with 0, so that the initial item is an array. And an array has an index value of 0. The second item is 1, and so on and so forth. So for month name, this would be May, not April. Creating and populating an array. So to create an array, you apply the object constructor. So where array is the name of the array, and the length is the number of items in the array. The length value is optional. If you omit this parameter, the array expands automatically as more items are added to it. However, by defining the length of an array, JavaScript will allot only the amount of memory needed to generate the array, so that the code runs more efficiently. So to create an array named month name for 12 month names, you would enter the following. Month name is the name of the array. We're going to create a new array with 12 indexes. Alternatively, you can omit the array length and just do it like this: month name with just the array, but no index value right there. And as is set up here, if you do define the value of the array, it's going to make your code run more efficiently because it knows that once you get to the 12th index value, it's done. So we'll look at that just a second, a little bit more, just to reiterate some things. Okay, so on this array right here, where we declare it's got 12 index values. So you have 1. Let's see how well I can use this. This might be more pain than it's worth. You have 1, then you have, this isn't going to work. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So these are months of the year by numbers. Okay. We already know 1 is January, 2 is February, 30 is March, and so on and so forth, right? Now, but what an array does, so there are 12 digits right here. One is represented in computer code talk, begins with 0. I know they're not in a straight line, but just deal with it. This is being a little frustrating to try to use, but there might be a better tool out there. I just don't know it yet. I'm sure there is. What I like to do is just hit tab, but that does not seem to work. Okay. So there's 1 through 12 numbers here. This also has 12 numbers. So here, 0 represents January, 1 represents February, 2 represents March, 3 is April, 4 is May, and so on and so forth until you get to 11, which is December. So the first month equals, in terms of computer code, and everything starts with 0. The first month equals 0, 2 equals 1. So even though an array is not going to go up to number 11, or it's not going to go up to number 12, it only goes up to number 11 in this. It is 12 because there are 12 numbers represented, 12 index values represented. Okay. So once you have created an array, you can populate it with values using the same commands you use for any variable. The only difference is that you must specify both an array name and the index number of the array item. So the command to set the value of a specific item in an array is, we have the array, the index, and then the value. So month name of 0 is January. 1 is February. 11 is December. Rather than writing each array in a separate command, you can populate the entire array in a single statement using the following. We can give the variable name of array, say new array, and then the values. So this is an example of the variable. We're declaring it with a variable. Stop it. We're with the month name is the variable name of an array. And we're saying we're going to create a new array of January, February, so on until December. So the index numbers are based on the position of the values in the list. So just based on the position, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 11. A final way to create an array is with an array literal, in which the array values are a comma separated list with a set of square brackets. So for this one, you can get the variable name, the month name, and instead of using the words new array, it's going to be expressed with the square brackets. I think honestly, this is one of the things that I have always thought was kind of confusing regarding to JavaScript and doing things like this. There's multiple ways of doing it, of representing it. And when you're getting started out, or you forget stuff like I do, it can get confusing if you're not familiar with, like, hey, both of these things are the same. They're just a different way of doing it. So just As an FYI, just be aware of that little, like sometimes there's multiple ways of doing the exact same thing. And just, like I said, just practice it. If you know the contents of your array, it's usually quicker and easier to set up your array using this method right here. Array values do not need to be the same data type. You can mix numeric values, text strings, and other data types within a single array. So you have a variable X, April, we have a string, we have a number, we have a Boolean, and we have a null value. To create an array, you can use, it's just going to reinforce some of this, it looks like. You can say a new array. To create a new array, you got a variable name of the variable, and say the new array, we're going to declare a new array, and we can give it a length. To set the value of an item within an array, use the command array I equals value. So where was that one? Right here. We got the month name right here. Month name, the index value 0. We're saying it's January. We could also do it within a single command. So we got a variable name of array, new array, the values, which was right here, month name, a new array, giving it the values. Or the other way was just doing the square brackets. We got a variable name, we can name it month names, and instead of using the words new array, we are just using the square brackets. So let's go back to our code. At the bottom, so we're in the calendar.js. I'll go ahead and actually put this together again. Insert the following function to write the caption of the calendar table and create the month name array. At the bottom of the file. Okay. Month names bar month name equals January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Then the closing bracket, which it already has, and then to the semicolon, and we'll hit Control Z to turn my word wrap on. Okay. So next, within the function, use the get month and get full year methods to extract the month number and 4-digit year number from the cal date parameter by entering the following commands. It's not what I wanted to do. What did I do? Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Determine the current month. Bar this month equals cal date get month. Determine the current year. Bar this year equals cal date dot get full year. And then we have finally complete the function by returning the caption tag for the calendar containing the month name and 4-digit year. So we'll write the caption, return caption plus month name this month plus space plus this year plus caption. Okay. Scroll up to the create calendar function and insert the following statement directly before the command calendar HTML. So scroll up to the create calendar function, which is right here. Insert the following statement directly before the command calendar HTML equals that. Nope, not that one. That one. So let's go over some of the stuff we've just wrote. We got a variable name of month. It's creating an array, and the way they're calling the array is with the square brackets and comma separated values, which basically mean you have a value separated by a comma and then a space just for readability. Determine this current month. So we have this month, a variable named this month. It's going to the argument is the cal date, or the parameter is the cal date of getting the month, and which is now this one I know, right? Could be 3 schools. Okay, so the get month, remember, is a method that's already built into JavaScript. Okay, so then we're going to return the caption of the month name. Oh, which is right here. The variable we declared up here. This month, which is a variable we declared right here. And this year, which is right here. And then we have the closed caption. Okay. And then what we did up here was the calendar of HTML plus, I'm not quite sure what this is, plus equals calendar HTML plus calendar HTML equals calendar HTML plus the cal caption. That I'm still not 100% what they're doing yet. Hit save it. And I'm still not saying anything. Are we supposed to say anything yet? Oh, we did see something. Okay, so it's displaying that where we have the calendar ID, the div, and it's displaying the month and the year, which is what we're looking for. So you'll notice like this function, it's all these are local to this function right here. What if we move that curly bracket to just the end of that array? And then save it, refresh, and then it's gone. Because this right here is still part of this function. But if we put that curly bracket at the end of this line instead of the end of here, JavaScript isn't going to know that this was part of this function right here. Okay. There was something else in here. Was that it on this one? Okay, moving on. Okay. Was that the last of 10.2? Oh, we already... Okay, sorry. I'm going to stop this video right here because I was wanting to separate between 10 and 2 and I got ahead of myself now, didn't I? So I'm just going to stop this video right here. I'm going to make another video. Go ahead and get this one uploaded and then make another video. So stop.